Alright, so the topic for today, a lot of people have been asking is how to download your subconscious. Well, it's not that easy, I'm not gonna lie. Especially if you're kind of trying to transition yourself to, being a better person and you're used to living a certain type of lifestyle. But either way, it is possible. And I'm going to kind of guide you the way through that. It has to actually do with a lot of different things that one actually believes in, because it all starts with believing in yourself. And then, of course, you have to understand different, what people would call universal laws, or if you're religious, it'd be commandments, but something to live by, in other words. And there's only two ways to live by. That's either good or bad. So what a lot of people don't know is they actually download their subconscious every month. It's just, do they know they're downloading bad? Or do they know they're downloading good? Well, your behavior would tell you. And if you're seeking help and you're looking to be somebody else, that obviously tells you that you're downloading negative. And so I'm going to kind of guide you a little bit through this, because it's a lot of questions that I'm getting. So every month, astrology, the moon. I know it's hard to believe, but it helps. It's a big source of energy that helps you manifest. And it doesn't just have to be on the moon. That's just, a higher peak to actually help your mind download. But when it comes to downloading and you want to download good, well, you start within yourself. And you actually have to come to the amends of what you're doing wrong, what you have done wrong, how it's affected you, what kind of behavior did you get out of it, and kind of learn your cycles. What I mean by learning your cycles is you're always, thinking, well, why? Why did I get into this mess again? Or why did this happen to me again? Those are cycles, repetitive things that happen to you over and over and over. And when you're able to understand that you're creating a cycle for you, then you're able to understand that something is wrong. And so you actually have to be honest with yourself. So once you get that step over, you're in the good. Like, hey, you recognize all your bad qualities and stuff, which is great for anyone to do anyways. But don't let it beat you down. The reason why it would beat you down, the reason why it would affect you, is because you may hold resentment for others. A form of hatred. I know hate is a big word, but a lot of people have it inside them. In other words, things that people can't let go. They could be anything negative, whether someone broke your heart, someone did you wrong, someone raised you wrong. There's even people out there that are resenting people that are already passed away because they left life. And so the ones that are still around, they resent them for leaving them with everything. Financial bills, children, all sorts of different resentments out there. Now, step 2, have to learn how to forgive. Learning how to forgive is a big issue for a lot of people, but it's not too hard. If you have a belief system, it should be easy. A lot of people, go to church to learn how to forgive. Depending on what a person's beliefs are, there is a law within that belief that definitely speaks of forgiving. But there's 2 ways of forgiving. Well, first, it starts with forgiving yourself. Can you forgive yourself? properly. Understanding your roots is properly forgiving. The more you can understand about your roots, yourself, your parents, your grandparents, everything in general, it makes it easier to forgive yourself. And most of all, no matter what religion, anyone's beliefs are, you gotta remember that everybody was actually born a sinner. We were all brought into this world through a sin. And what I mean by that, well, if anyone knows anything about Adam and Eve, well, they knew the knowledge of both sides of the world. And they chose to eat that apple together. It definitely was a sinful act. And from that point on, well, we were all conceived through a sin, meaning it wasn't a proper conceivement. And what I mean by that is the emotions weren't aligned, the love wasn't aligned, the conceivement wasn't proper. It was based off of an emotional, physical touch, more than likely without love. And then, depending on, different scenarios, different families, different people out there, it was a built love, No relationship is perfect. It always has its flaws. It will never be perfect. What makes things somewhat perfect is when two people understand under a equal thought, not an agreement, a thought. Their emotions has to be equal. Their love has to be equal. What they think of each other has to be equal. No competition, because this world's all about competition. That's how everybody is in these positions within their mind. And so once you're able to learn your roots and understand the whole concept of, and we were all brought in here sinned, it kind of makes it easier on the mind to understand that you're not alone. And when you get those few steps out of the way, well, then you'll kind of understand maybe the difference between narcissists and empaths, which really doesn't matter either, because even empaths have narcissist traits. A lot of us as children started off as empaths, and then from there, each level of situation that affected us slowly turned us in to our caretakers, which could be parents, grandparents, anyone that took care of us as a child. You got that good, loving religion taken care of. Well, that's great. That's awesome. You're a step ahead of everyone else. If you didn't, well, you got a little bit more work to do. And so it literally starts with understanding your roots. And of course, admitting to yourself that you want the change and you need to change. And from there, you can start creating the change. Now, downloading the subconscious. Yes, it is hard because you cannot contradict yourself. You cannot fear yourself. You have to move on within the mind with not letting things affect you. And a lot of fear and a lot of resentment are a lot of things that do affect you. And as long as you're hating other people, you're going to hate yourself. As long as you have problems with other people, you're going to have problems with yourself. So the best thing is to learn how to forgive. Now from there, let's just say that all that is done and you're ready to start downloading or manifesting and reprogramming your mind to start learning something different. It's an everyday thing. You have to see a vision for yourself. You have to understand what you want for yourself. And I'm talking a person filled with doubt and resentment is the worst thing you can have as an enemy toward yourself. You know that saying, a person is their worst enemy. It is true, because it's only you that stops yourself from becoming a better person. And so every day you might be telling yourself, oh, this is impossible, this is too hard, how am I going to do this? Well, you have to see that you are your own creator. No one else creates who you are when you're ready for a change. And once you're able to get that courage and get that, you know, I call it spirit attitude, you have that strong spirit within you, then you're able to like make it easier within your mind because it gives you a stronger will. And when you have that, well, you can continue doing that on a daily basis. But it all starts with telling yourself things, kind of using your consciousness, you know. You bring your conscience once, your desires, your passion, and you keep telling your subconscious that this is what you're going to do, this is what you want, this is how you want it, this is how you see it, which starts with like affirmations. Affirmations are something that you tell yourself, and you literally have to tell yourself. Whether you record to yourself or you speak to yourself in your mind, you know, a lot of people say, hey, it's crazy that that person's talking to themselves, but it's really not, because you have to hear your own voice. If you're sitting there and you're staring at something in your room, let's just use that as an example, and you're just staring at it, but your mind keeps on floating, and it's just there in a daze and a wonder, and you're saying nothing to yourself, but you're kind of like rethinking things and kind of daydreaming, well, then you're stuck in your subconscious. Now, it's okay to stare at the floor, but at least talk to yourself. At least tell yourself, I want to do this. I am going to do this. I will do this. I am the change. I am love. I am abundance. I am going to have that awesome job I want. I am going to go to school. You know, all those things that you want for yourself. I want to be good. I am going to be good. I am going to learn. And it kind of gives your mind an insight on what you want for itself. You keep that going every morning. The most important times to do this is when you wake up and right before you fall asleep. And right before you fall asleep, if you continue to do this as much as you can in your head, you will sit there and manifest it in your mind. And when you have it in your mind, it will be on your mind. And when it's on your mind, you will be able to follow through instead of saying, oh, what am I going to do today? No, you will wake up with, oh, I have this to do today, because you did your subconscious talking to yourself, talking to your subconscious basically before you go to bed. And if you choose to want to do it throughout the day, that's even better. But you keep it going. You keep it going. And of course, good diet and healthy foods is always a plus because it helps the mind. A lot of people say they fasten, which is even better. But that's for like experienced. If you're wanting to start, at least somewhere, this is where you start. And this is, you know, a way of starting, like your foot in the door, you know, taking a few baby steps, understanding yourself. And it just naturally starts reprogramming your mind. And when you start following through with the things you tell yourself, you keep it going. When the full moon is in effect, you push 10 times harder, battling yourself, battling your mind. And during the full moons are more of a energetic